Hello, and welcome to another edition of Reflections of a Brain Rot. Lately, I've been directing my rotting energy on capitalism, and I would like to start off on a positive note. So, I'm going to take you to 1956 Spain. To be fair, most of Spain was under Franco's dictatorship at the time, so maybe not the cheeriest of moods, but this is a story about a Catholic priest and a bunch of workers who decided to speedrun socialism by actually making it profitable. The result? Mondragon Corporation. Proof that you can have your worker-owned cake and eat it too. Today, Mondragon owns everything from supermarkets to banks, employing over 80,000 people and pulling in 12 billion euros in annual revenue, all while maintaining wage ratios that would make a Wall Street CEO choke on their caviar. For perspective, while American CEOs make 324 times their median worker salary, Mondragon executives cannot exceed 6 times the lowest salary. And when COVID hit, instead of layoffs, they reduced everyone's hours and salary equally, from the shop floor to the executive suite. Spain figured out cooperative capitalism, and Norway figured out how to take oil money and not blow it on yacht parties. The Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund, the world's largest, sorry about the oil, here's some ethical investments fund, owns about 1.5% of every listed company on Earth, which means every time you buy pretty much anything, you technically help fund a Norwegian pension. With $1.4 trillion in assets owned by just 5.4 million Norwegians at $250,000 per citizen, they are the world's most successful national piggy bank. They've also blacklisted over 150 companies for ethical reasons, including names like Philip Morris and Boeing. Speaking of rich and picky, Japan was sitting there in the 1990s looking at their economic bubble burst and thinking maybe infinite growth on a finite planet isn't the big brain move that they thought it was. They accidentally pioneered what economists now call stable state economics. Japan's stagnation looks pretty good on paper. Their GDP per capita grew from 31,000 in 1994 to 39,000 in 2019, while maintaining the world's lowest wealth inequality among G7 nations. Their Gini coefficient sits at 0.33, while the US sweats at 0.41. And they've managed to do all of this while working about 400 hours less per year than Americans. Safe to say they found a model that sparks joy. Here's where it gets a bit weird. One of the reasons why we can't imagine an alternative to capitalism is grammar. Stay with me here. In English, we don't just spend money, we spend time, we invest in relationships, we save face. The English language is so banking obsessed, you can't even talk about your grandmother without sounding like an accountant. If you scrunched your eyebrows at the phrase saving face, then you're probably not too familiar with East Asian economy, which is essentially at this point run by social anxiety. In Korea and China alike, there's this thing called face consumption, where people buy luxury goods not because they want them, but because society expects them to look successful. In China alone, luxury goods for status signaling account for $100 billion annually, with consumers under 30 making up about 50% of the market. And that's right, people are going into debt to look like they're not in debt. Meanwhile, in Africa, there's something called black tax. And yet, the name does not exactly scream positivity. It's the idea that if you make it, you're expected to financially support your extended family. In South Africa, about 80% of Black professionals send 15 to 20% of their paycheck home every month. And here's the catch: calling it a tax, it makes it sound like a burden, like something unfair, when it's actually a form of community care, a grassroots safety net where the system fails to provide. As a tax or by any other name, my respects definitely go out to those who are basically running a private welfare state from their paycheck. Now, you think that the internet would fix all of this by making us one global village. Instead, we've created digital feudalism. And here's where things get really uncomfortable. The Magnificent Seven, Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Nvidia, and Tesla, together are worth over $12 trillion. That's more than the GDP of every country, excluding the US and China. They've got more economic power than most nations, but their citizens cannot vote on how they run. The worst part is we are all caught in what is the can't quit, won't quit cycle. These companies make massive profits, which pumps up their stock prices, which attracts more investment from our retirement funds and index funds, which gives them even more power. Your 401k is probably invested in them right now. If you want to try boycotting them, good luck. They're probably hosting the website you'd use to organize this boycott. It's like trying to protest oxygen. It's technically possible, but you just wouldn't last very long. And if you think about it, you're probably watching this online, you're using a device made by one of them on an operating system made by another, connected through cloud infrastructure owned by a third, while their ads follow you around like a clingy ex. And your retirement fund, it's betting big on all of them, because what else is it gonna do? It's a cycle that feeds itself: more profits, higher stock valuations, more investment, even greater dominance. Rinse and repeat until we're all basically living in a very comfortable corporate dystopia. While all of this is happening, people are quietly building actual alternatives. Wikipedia runs on just $150 million annually. This is about what Facebook makes every 8 hours. Yet Wikipedia is able to handle 90 billion page views per month. Meanwhile, Linux, the free operating system that powers 96.3% of the world's top million web servers, is estimated to have saved businesses over $60 billion through shared development. It's like we are building a gift economy in the shell of the old system, one Creative Commons license at a time. The future of economics might not be some grand revolution or a tech utopia. It might just be us slowly figuring out that cooperation is a better deal than competition. One Spanish cooperative, Norwegian pension fund, and Wikipedia edit at a time. Thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this, please don't forget to like and subscribe.